Sup, guys, this is Baseball for FPC, and I'm very pleased to bring you episode 4 of my Interstellar Marines Early Access gameplay video series. This video is covering update number 5, which brings the current version of the game to 0.5.5. Now this patch was released on October 9th, so it's been out for a few days now, but I'm finally getting around to recording some gameplay as well as getting a commentary up for you guys. Now, one of the big additions that came with this patch was a new map, and so I'll be talking a little bit about that in a minute or two, but it's not in the multiplayer rotation yet, and so because of that, I'm just going to be covering some of the single-player elements that they have for the game right now, and so, yeah, I guess let's get started. So, probably one of the bigger things for this patch was the addition of a new map. Now, this map was created by Martin Johnson, and the reason that I'm making a note of this is because he was the winner for the Community Map Making Contest. Now this contest ran from September 10th to September 17th, so it was last month, and you were basically asked to create a map, this either in Photoshop or some sort of 3D modeling program, whatever the case, and then you'd submit that, and then the devs would go and sort of pick the best one, and the best one would actually be created inside the game engine and would be put in the game. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea, pretty cool way of getting the community's help in actually adding to the game itself. And so the winner was Martin Johnson. Congratulations to him. It's a big honor to actually have a piece of your work put inside the game itself. So the map that I'm playing right now, Elevation, is the community map that won. So it's got a very interesting way of approaching things. It looks very basic right now, just sort of flat, but as soon as the environment state changes, then the platform starts shifting up, starts shifting down, and it creates this really dynamic map that sort of flows and ebbs as you progress through the game. And so with the whole shifting environment, it's a really cool feel to the map, and I'm really interested to see how this plays out in multiplayer. So as you can see here, I'm actually moving up right now as one of the platforms is moving up because the environment state just changed. So that was a pretty cool thing that they implemented and are still implementing. This is the very first iteration of the map, and so they'll continuously be improving this as well as other maps. Speaking about other maps, on the really popular map Evacuation, which is what I covered in the last update video, they sort of changed some of the environment, I believe. Like they cut down on some of the rocks, they added more foliage, they added a couple structures, and so I played that map just a couple days ago, and so I really liked what I saw there. I'm really happy that they're continuously improving the maps that they've already sort of put in the game. So one of the other big things for this update, or at least for me it was, is they changed the control scheme slightly. Now I'm going to try not to I'm going to try not to butcher this way of explaining it. So basically, you have your shift key, which is sprint, your right mouse button, which is toggle aim down sights, and then you have the F and G keys for your flashlight and the laser. So previously, if you tapped the shift, I'm going to use the shift key for sprinting as the example here. Before, you would hold down the shift key and you would sprint, and as soon as you let up on the shift key, you would continue sprinting until you tapped the shift key again, which would stop you from sprinting. And so I wasn't a huge fan of that because when I lift up on a key, I like the action to actually stop moving. I don't like it to continue going. So one of the things that they added in this patch was both sets of control schemes. So again, back to the sprinting example, if you hold down the shift key, you continue sprinting. So you're sprinting, and then as soon as you let up on the shift key, you stop sprinting. As well as the old version where if you just tapped the shift key, you would sprint until you tapped it again. And so that works for sprinting, it works for aim down sight, it works for the flashlight as well as the laser. And so I thought that was a really cool way of doing things. I've actually never seen a game that implements both methods. It's usually one or the other, but I thought it was pretty cool how they added both. And so sort of to each his own, and everybody has their own different way of playing, and so some people prefer one over the other, and so it was interesting how they sort of did both. Another thing that they added was the ability to join onto your Steam friends. I know in a lot of other games, if you see that your friend is in a particular game, you can click on the drop-down arrow next to their name in Steam, and then there's a join game option, and then it'll launch that particular game and put you into their server if there's space available. And so they added support for that into this game, which was good, especially if you're trying to join onto a group of friends or just one other friend. It makes things really easy rather than having to launch the game manually and then search for their own server. So it works out really well. Another thing that they added was more content to the Spearhead Edition folder, and at the very beginning of this video I sort of switched over to the Profiles tab in the main menu, and it said Open Spearhead folder. That takes you to the Spearhead Edition exclusives, and so that has soundtracks, it's got artwork, and so they added some more. What did they add? They added concept models to the Spearhead folder. A couple immersion things that they added. You can see sort of the updated HUD. You've got those red sort of tracking things. I'm not exactly sure what they are, but it sort of adds to the effect that you actually have a helmet on. And so they're continuously updating that. They're continuously improving on what that is. What you can see here before I continue on the updates, but I am in the, I believe this is called the sandbox, and so these are all the different environments that they sort of have. These are all the different I don't even know what you would call them. Surfaces, that's what I was looking for. All the different surfaces, and when you shoot them, each surface has their own specific sound, they have their own specific impacts, and so this whole sandbox area is meant to show off some of the features of the game and for you to just sort of mess around with. There's a lot of open space, so I can see them in the future adding a whole bunch more stuff here, but you can see all the different surfaces that they have, all the different bullet impacts as well as sounds, and you also have those guys running on the balls. You can shoot them, sort of see the death animations. So you can see here a lot of open space, so I'm really excited to see what they actually add here. But anyways, I wanted to sort of show that to you guys before I continued on with the updates. As I was mentioned, they updated the HUD. They also added sort of weapon bobbing when you're running, just to sort of increase the immersion feel. What else did they have? You can sort servers by the name, the map, players, ping. It's not that big of a deal right now, just because there aren't an insane amount of servers. But come launch time, I'm sure there will be quite a few servers. So it's always helpful to be able to search for servers or sort servers by players, stuff like that. Now this is another map that's not in the multiplayer rotation. However, this has been in the game since launch. This is basically a giant megalodon. I believe that's how you pronounce it. In the map evacuation, you can actually see one of these things down in the very center of the map. That's sort of like the central location in the map. But this is in its hangar, and it's there for you to see in all of its glory. And so I'm basically just running around. As I said, this is not in the multiplayer rotation, so that's why I'm showing it to you in this video. There are a few more things that they updated and fixed, so I'm just going to run through these real quick. I'm just going to read these straight off the list that they released. They updated the muzzle flash particle effects and lighting to be a bit less obscuring in aim, and added shadow casting. They updated network system with improvements in CPU usage. They fixed network smoothing isn't saved when quitting, that's in quotes. And they fixed camera shaking becomes unstable with low FPS. So that was update number 5. I really wanted to show you the new map that they released, as well as a couple of the other things, the sandbox that they have, and the Megalodon ship that you can sort of run around in. All the multiplayer maps are available to run around in single player, and you can see all the different environment state changes, and so it's kind of cool just to run around in the maps and to see. I really love the lighting in this game and the way that it's so dynamic, and how the contrast between daylight and darkness and how extreme those are. So thank you for watching this update video, guys. Go out and play the game, and yeah, thanks for watching. Until next time, later.